Good morning. It's Thursday, July 31st. I'm Teddy, and you are listening to Messy Mocha. So go ahead, grab your cup, and let's get started and sip this mocha up. Welcome to all my other beers. I call the Grizzlies and the Honey Beers. Well, you know what? That was going to be my second song. My first song was supposed to be Morning Gaze. Yeah, but you know what I was doing? I was just sitting here rocking, swaying back and forth to this morning. Last night, I just chilled out. I worked so late. I did. I did. And when I got in, you know, it was just a little bit too long of a day for me. I know. I said I worked. Wow, I shouldn't have said that. Now you guys are going to wonder, what am I doing? Well, you just never know, right? Okay. I mean, I do have a license to practice medicine. All right. So who is joining me this morning? I see Vicky Black and baby Juju. Yes. You probably wonder, why is Teddy coming on, so late lately? Well, I can pretty much do what I want, when I want, yes, and however long that I want. And it's summer, and yeah. And some of you know that I've been working on my kitchen. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm almost done. It's been a while. Yes, and I can't tell you why. It's just, but it's just about finished. I just have to get my countertops, and they need to change out a cabinet for the pantry. Yeah, because it was too tall to fit in. So, and I didn't want them to have to cut the wall out, to push the pantry back. So it would have been the height and the depth. So hopefully I can get that ordered, by Monday, and sometime in August it should be here. That will be put in. And then any new appliances that I will be ordering should be in. So yeah, I got to pay for all this stuff. I have to pay. Angie says disco. I know that was the music. What am I going to do about it? Yeah, I'll play like Morning Gaze next. Yeah. Oh, that means somebody's going to be looking around trying to figure out where I'm. Oh gosh, why did I let that slip out? Because you just never know, right? So I took a look briefly this morning to see what you guys were doing yesterday and what was out in the YouTube streets. So, still talking about Donat being locked up. Yeah. And you know what? I saw where someone had posted that the bail was $500,000. And I'm like, come on. No, it's $250,000. You know what? That's still a lot of money. I didn't talk about that the other night. I just kind of talked about, like, did anyone figure out who was the first? I said, um, by the time I saw it, it would have been Danielle, right? But someone mentioned there was somebody. You mean to tell me there was someone else who was breaking? That's all I know. That's all I know, and I told you that's what I saw. Hmm. Oh, he had a warrant. They said. All right, but to get arrested that time of the night, Who tipped? Where, I mean, like, where was he? Again, I haven't watched any other videos. Like last night, I didn't watch any videos. I didn't watch anything yesterday. Really, I didn't have time. And um, yeah. So what do you know? So he had a warrant, and that was for something previous, right? And what, he didn't show up or something like that. And did they find out where he was? Yeah, that's still the question for me. Come on. You know, like, who tipped them off and who had credentials? Yeah, I still have that. Because the other day, not yesterday, but I could see people were posting, you know, what was on the site. But what I showed, I didn't see anyone posting that. That detailed report, the one that looks like was, from that media LA court site. I don't know who tipped them off. And you know what? I did see. So they've got a part 4. So yeah. So I guess, for the rest of the summer, at least through August, I saw that the court, he has an appearance date for the 18th of August. And unless somebody pays the 10% of $250,000, that's $25,000. I thought I heard someone say 2,500. No, they must have just, looked quickly. It's 25,000. That's a lot of money for, even if the bond was set at 25,000, for a misdemeanor. But apparently, um, the judge set it so high, maybe because, other things, if you don't show up. I really don't know why, because I didn't, I don't even know if he had a first appearance. That's just how much I've really looked into it, because yesterday I didn't have a whole lot of time to do it. But that's still a lot of money. I mean, $250,000 means $25,000 to raise. Now, you know what I don't know? I think I know just a little bit. Maybe somebody, I could look it up real quick. If you have a bail's bondsman, all right, so they put up this amount of money and surety to the court that you're not going, if they let you out, that the bail's bondsman can ensure the court, or assure the court, that the court date they will make their appearance. I think that's how it works, right? So, what a bail's bondsman would have to pay, I don't know. If they would have to come up with the $25,000, or if they had, like, property, jewelry, something that they could use as collateral. And then after the hearing or whatever, if the bail is reduced, or whatever portion, I can't be certain, that it would be refunded, the difference or something. Again, so Bill's bondsman, I guess that's how, they make a lot of money. So they would take, I think this is how it works. Because a bail's bondsman, they're not going to do it for free, right? So they're going to make money, and even if the amount is reduced, they would, again, I don't know. They would probably keep a certain percentage, and then, yeah. So it, what, assures the court that he's not going to run if they let him out. Yeah. Oh, Vicky. So, okay, you guys catch me up. Everything is alleged, and I don't know everything behind this. I made that clear the other day. All right. Vicky said they say he was a flight risk because he had a warrant and he didn't turn himself in. All right, but was somebody, like, watching, you know, like a certain amount of time, that there was going to be a next hearing or something? I don't know. What have you guys been able to learn about this? Because I don't want to misspeak. I do know the bill is $250,000. I saw, the initial arrest date was what, the 27th, and then there was a booking, all of that. Looking into the particular um, unit, or what's set up there in Los Angeles. I guess that's, what did I read? I just looked it up. The facility in, they call it the Van Nuys Jail, LAPD Van Nuys Jail, is a temporary holding facility. So again, this is what I'm thinking. Once the hearing, then if there is any type of, I don't know what the what the judge will decide, but that's just temporary. So if there's something long term or whatever, then I think some of the inmates, they get moved, depending on um, what has been alleged, if there's, fees, jail time, and so forth. I simply don't know. But I can tell you a number of people will be, waiting to hear that. Mhm. And we know who is going to be checking and calling and reporting day by day. So I guess that's the new story for the rest of the summer. What do you think? Let me look at your comments, and then I can, just hit some of the news headlines. Maybe the five things. I see Old School, good morning, says, I think. Again, this is your thoughts, your opinions. So you think someone snitched on where he was located, and now who would be able to influence the judge for a high bond? I mean, directly, that that part, but I don't know. I definitely know people can try to, from the outside, write letters, do things, but whether or not the judge is actually going to see them and take note and, wonder why, and, yeah. So prior to this, there was um, a beef, right? So there was beef with AT2 and Donat. There was beef with, about his family. I don't know, what was all involved, but I can tell you it wasn't, it was ugly from what I could see. It was, ugh, it's not something I'm I'm part of or support in any way. As a matter of fact, talking about support in that for Denat, let me tell you this. If you haven't looked at my case, all right, and it's still open, the judge hasn't, made a ruling in my case. But part of a submission by Danielle is she's trying to link me to Donat, because when he came up on my channel and hit the link in 2023, that's right. That's right. In that petition. So, how can I put this? Denot's incarceration, it's a separate from my case, and linking my name to Denot in a petition to I'd have to look at the petition, but linking up with she even put in a violent criminal and put up the picture. So I sent, part of my submission as my exhibit. One of those videos that Danielle used the copyright photograph and private picture from my PPO hearing last year. Well, she created a video and posted it on her backup channel and put a side-by-side picture of Denot and my photograph that was used from my hearing to associate me with Denot. Do you see how that worked? Like, I'm in partnership supporting anything in any way by anyone, any person. I never support ever anyone in this world. Okay? Anyone in this world that would have any violence or harm. And she put that I support this harm. So that is, yes, very disturbing and slanderous and defamatory. But that's how she tried to use it, like reaching. I'm a content creator. If someone comes over here and puts something in the chat, I don't support. I have said all the time that comments are alleged and to be respectful in the chat. And yes, so that part. So when I see, and heard that Denot, I don't know all the background, but I know, what I saw in some video about AT2's family or whatever. I don't support that. I would never support that kind of behavior alleged. I didn't see it all. I didn't watch it all. I don't know everything that happened. But I can tell you that Danielle, in this present case, has mentioned Denot multiple times, all right, to try to, associate. And I showed that as part of my exhibit, how she's trying to use that. All right. You'd have to, go and see the reading and all of that. But it is it's serious. Back to his, again, I don't know, but I'm just saying the bond is unusually high. So there, again, this is just my thinking that it would imply, don't know, that there's some serious allegations or something, and that's not typical for a misdemeanor bail. As I looked that up, that's just not typical. All right. But whatever the judge decide, I don't know what's in the past. I don't know. But I can just say that my case in his name, it remains distinct and should not ever be conflated with Donat's alleged past. Also, let me tell you what else she did. Since I'm on that, she took, again, I told you I hadn't listened to all this stuff. One of King World's videos, I don't know where it comes from. It doesn't even sound like, I don't know, maybe something on YouTube. I've never heard it, but she did like a mix. You talk about a splice and a dice, where she is playing one of my videos, and then King World cuts in and he's talking about, I don't know what he's talking about. He's not talking about me. It's like I've never, something he's talking about. Again, it's trying to associate because someone came over to my chat and, came up and said something. Or I was asked to come over to a chat because of someone wanting to know about, 2021 or 2022 or whatever. All right. But I should make it abundantly clear, because you just never know what people are looking up, and might see by that name association. All right. It's that part. I don't have any past. I don't have any record. I have never done anything to harm anyone in my life, specifically any patient, anything, doxing patients. I've been accused of that. It's just untrue. It's all of it's just rubbish. Okay. So I didn't know I was going to speak on that, but I, yeah, because I'm talking about denial. All right. So again, I don't know, but I just learned it's the 18th. And yeah, as a matter of fact, I could have made that and analyzed this mess and like take a trip back to October of 2023, because that's when it was that, and it's still posted, when Danielle launched this change.org petition accusing me without proof of a number of things, simply because someone else came into my chat. Not because I said something, not because I posted anything, but because someone else, a person whom I can't control, when they enter a public chat room. So I really just see it's all repeated. I'll just put it under a setup and projection and strategic deflection, all of it. And yeah, fast forward to today, it's the petition she created is still live almost 2 years later. Why? I think because the goal was never truth. It was a narrative control. It was deflection and guilt by chat association. Yeah, so I just summed it up. Okay. Let me come back out. Yep. I got that in. So we had a part of a little bit of analyze this mess, but You never know what you're going to get on Messy Mocha. I haven't been here in the morning. I thought by now we would get to the news, but yeah. Yeah. Who else is joining me this morning? Melissa, Petty LaBelle. Yeah. Yeah, that's my word for rubbish. Plotter is here. Luna's Blade. Let's see. Love wins. Good morning, says Miss Teddy. You have moved with integrity. DR is trying once again to create a narrative to try to defend her unwarranted harassment and attacks. Yes, it's like putting stuff out there. Mhm. And, I don't know when judges see all of this, right? I don't know. And I don't know when a decision is coming. I'm just waiting. I don't know how it's going to go at all. So, um, yeah. Luna Blade. Let me take a sip of my water. Says, wow, I didn't see that, but I did see a small portion of her using Donat's content and wondered how and why that's okay. My head spins and what she put and still putting you through. Mhm. Yeah, she's got up still under investigation. She just it's just she wants me to do so, take all that down. All right. Um back to yeah, there's some fishy stuff going on. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know who would be involved. Just yeah, I just wonder how did they find it? How would yeah. Let's see. Now, is that a rumor? Is cursing out a judge? Did someone again, I have not watched any videos, any if there was a hearing, uh, I don't know. Um, there should be a transcript. If there is one, I don't know. They would most likely, bleep all that out. Again, I don't know. On this platform, a lot of things are said amongst content creators, um, people who watch the videos, post things in chats. There's people that, go from chat to chat, watching different videos, and that's normal. Yeah, because there's majority of people that know about these stories are not content creators. So they are going to want to, watch various videos and, keep up on things. Yeah. But they can compare and I guess, get a little bit here and a little bit there. Uh let's see. No court would uh yeah, for failing to appear, if that's part of all of that, you can't curse out a judge and fail to appear. You certainly can't curse them out to their face. I don't know if that happened. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a rumor. It was at a hearing. Or was that something that was written? Was that something that was said on a video? I don't know. Mm-mm. Yeah. I do know when someone is unavailable and they can't, make any comments. That's difficult. Yeah. Let's see. Alleged. All right. So love wins. Again, all comments made today, everything we're talking about is fair use commentary. Criticism, opinions, please be respectful. Love wins says allegedly he has or had several encounters popping up on folks and acting crazy. I believe I heard he attacked Armand allegedly. I don't know anything about that one. You mean like at a club or something? I do remember, how they have those meet and greet and other kinds of, you know, events, I'll just call them. People can cross paths. Content creators have been known to show up at the same event. I don't know if they had a personal past, being, where they would have had in public be at a public event together. I don't know how that, all of that would have come about if that were true. Okay. Melissa says, I personally believe he got in an argument with his partner. Oh, all right. So this is how you think. One of the theories. And his partner called the cops on him, but that's your opinion. You say him cursing or cussing out the judge is facts. How was it? Something recent in this? Was it on his platform? Was it? I mean, what do you? A fact? Again, I haven't watched all of this. I'm learning like you. Does anyone else know? That that would be disturbing. Plotter, good morning. 82, that's what you guys call him, 82, allegedly is going to take down Donat's channel whilst he's away. That's plausible. I would not doubt that there are contacts being made, like through the channels of YouTube, flagging his videos, flagging his channel, flagging, reporting, writing, all kinds of uh, people getting in touch with YouTube, whether it's on X, however they've done it in the past, they are doing it, I'm certain, again. Mhm. And it's probably a lot of people. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Hmm. Let me go up. Love wins. I think they definitely snitched. That's why they knew when he was arrested. That seems plausible. So, like, yeah, how did who snitched? Yeah. Oh, there's another story. Let me go up. Baby Juju. Good morning to my moderator. Yeah, we're just hanging out this morning. on MessyMocha. I'm trying to get caught up. Another story on the streets has been lit. Hmm. On a scale from 1 to 10, if you can quantify it, compared to the Donut story, how would you rank it just compared to Donut story with a number? Anyone? I don't even know what's out there. It's definitely content. Mm, I'm just looking. Good morning, Fiva, Angie, to my members. Mhm. Let's see, go all the way up. Oh, I'm sure I missed some. Just scanning through. You know what? While I scan the comments, let's play this track, Morning Gaze. I'll come back 5 minutes, catch up on the headlines, and then we can get back into this or wrap things up. Here we go. So let me take down the photo so you can at least see some of the chat, or you could see it, I think. Did I make it large enough? Hang on. Let's throw this up real quick and see if I can enlarge it. That way, while I'm going over the news feed, you can read some of the comments. Hang on. Let me just take this down. There. All right. So the 5 things that we should know. Let me see if I can look these up. 5 things to know for July 31st. Gaza, Ukraine, aviation safety, medical records, and immigration. So let's start with Gaza. For the first time, Arab and Muslim states, including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, have issued a joint call demanding that Hamas disarm and relinquish power in the Gaza Strip. The declaration, which was signed at the UN conference by the 22-member Arab League, as well as the entire European Union and another 17 countries, also condemned the deadly October 7, 2023 attack by Hamas on Israel and proposed the deployment of a temporary international stabilization mission. Say that 3 times. France, which co-chaired the conference, called the declaration unprecedented, with international pressure building on Israel over the ongoing starvation crisis and war in Gaza. Canada announced on Wednesday that it plans to recognize a Palestinian state in September. Did you hear that? France and Britain made similar announcements earlier this month. President Trump blasted Canada's decision and threatened to derail ongoing trade talks. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also vehemently opposes a 2-state solution. I don't know if you've seen any of the pictures, especially of the children, Gaza, who and the people who are literally starving to death. It is a humanitarian crisis, and now they've been, doing airdrops. But even when they're dropping the food on the crowds, people are rushing and they can get hurt, injured, and worse. Some have even lost their lives. These people are starving. Families. Yeah. On to Ukraine. Moscow's summer offensive in Ukraine continues. I mean, we're going on how many years? That was, 22? It just, wow. Continues with Russian troops edging forward this year despite taking heavy casualties. By the way, 8.8, earthquake, Russia. I didn't even report on that. Tsunami warnings for the West Coast, Hawaii, California. I'm sure you've heard about that. But the fighting continues with Russian troops edging forward despite these casualties that it has taken. So, on 3 sides, Russian units have advanced to the border of Donetsk and other regions. Analysts say that Russian forces have adapted their tactics, moving in smaller groups on foot or motorbikes to evade Ukrainian drone. Now, I think the U.S. is still continuing, not in the way that we were providing aid to Ukraine since President Donald Trump has taken, since he's been in office, there's, it's been, I'll just say, like you turn on a water faucet, release a certain amount, and, like drip, drip. It's not just open spigot any longer, I don't think. If Congress had something to do with it, there would be probably a lot more, but it is Congress making the decision. Maybe I should say more in the Senate. The Russian momentum continues as President Trump shortened his deadline. Yep. He said, okay, Putin, make peace. He cut it from 50 days to up to 12, although ceasefire talks have not yet been pursued. Instead, Moscow has continued to invest significant resources since the invasion. All right, so overnight, yesterday, in the front of aviation, more than 24 people aboard a Delta Airlines flight. They were taken to the hospital in Minnesota on Wednesday after turbulence forced their plane to make an emergency landing. An airline's personnel, flight number DL56. It was traveling from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam when the turbulence occurred. The aircraft then diverted to Minneapolis St. Paul International, where first responders treated at least 25 people before transporting them to area hospitals. Thankfully, they were able to land the aircraft safely, but various injuries. I'm sure some of you have been on an airlines traveling and you've gone through turbulence, and I know I have. Not where they've had to do an emergency landing, but when you're, bouncing up and down, and they turn on the lights, and everybody is like, put the light up there with the oxygen mask, and it can be very frightening. Yeah, but thankfully, people are getting the care that they need. On to some medical records. What's going on here? For the fourth thing you should know, President Trump has tasked dozens of major health and technology companies with creating new ways to share patient data across the U.S. fragmented healthcare system. Yeah, that's because, a lot of systems don't talk to one another. Yeah. More than 60 companies, including Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Oracle, signed the non binding pledge to work collaboratively and deliver results by early 2026. That's according to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. During a speech on Wednesday, Trump said that if the initiative is successful, we will save time, we will save money, and most importantly, we will save lives. It remains unclear what specific benchmarks the group is expected to meet or how the administration plans to hold the companies accountable. The proposal may also spark pushback from privacy advocates who have warned that making patient sensitive health data more widely accessible risks also making it less secure. I was thinking about that as I was just kind of reading through it with all these others getting involved, patient privacy information and communicating, trying to make the network so that hospitals, medical facilities, wherever this data that we look at every day, those of us in healthcare, especially if a patient is being transferred from one hospital system to another hospital system and they're not on the same system, that can make it, you know, definitely can make it tricky. Immigration, finally. let's go to number 5. A dozen Democratic members of Congress have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration over a new Homeland Security policy that restricts access to federal detention centers. Oh, you may have heard, like in New York, where some of the congressmen and women had tried to gain access to these detention centers, but they were, you know, not allowed in. And some that were, they were met with, we'll just say, some even physical resistance. Yeah. The complaint claims the policy, which requires 7 days' notice and limits admittance to certain field offices, violates a long-standing federal law that permits unannounced inspections by members of Congress. In the past, these visits have provided the public with insights into how detainees were being treated, such as overcrowded cells, spoiled food, and medical neglect. Several lawmakers said they have already been denied entry to facilities in their districts. CNN has reached out to Immigration and Customs Enforcement for comment. All right, so that will do it for the 5 things that we should know. I saw a few more comments. Let me look here on the screen. I wasn't watching the comments. But yes, it was cups. The other story, let me see if I can roll back. Yeah, the news is hard to watch, isn't it? So hard to watch, especially when you see the stories, the human stories of tragedy, you know, tragedy and, starvation. Not only what's happening, in the Middle East, there's stories like in the Congos, in case you didn't know, where churches have been burned to the ground, members, parishioners just slaughtered. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot. And some of it is getting headlines, while other stories are being pushed, back and lower in the news. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so back to a Messy Mocha. It is 9:59, almost 10 o'clock, and I've been on for an hour. So let's just wrap it up with a few more comments. And yeah, you can, catch me tonight. I do plan to come on. Maybe not as late. Yeah, I've got some personal things I've got to get done today and some errands I've got to take care of. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Little stretch. I'm getting in there. You can also email me at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. Yes, people aren't talking about the Congo. Yeah. And it's you know, and it's like right in Central Africa. Um, it's horrible. Horrible. Okay, so let me just read a few comments. Response on the news. If Cheeto Man done anything, he showed the people of the U.S. how messed up the U.S. is. Mhm. Yeah. I wonder on the world stage, since he's taken office, if there was a worldwide poll, and you can't do it, different countries, but has the view of Americans, has it been more favorable since he has taken office, or is it less favorable since he has taken office? Yeah. All right. So let me go up. Was there one above this one? I'm just going to hold that one there until I can find your first comment. All right. So Cups of Conversation for MessyMocha says, all allegedly, the person who sent the letter to the court for Kimmy was someone named Cat, question, mother, and she didn't know her mother did it, but her mother told another content creator and not her child about the lie. Her mother? You're saying someone's mother of someone on this platform? Cat. I've heard. Is that would be Cat Medusa? I remember just by her name. Is someone saying that her mother sent a letter? Is the person behind that letter that was struck, that was sent to the federal court? Was that confirmed? Was that from her mother's mouth? Do we know that's her mother? Now I can see your comment says, yes, the mother. The mother? Her mother must be young. I don't know how old her mother. I don't know anything about her mother, but I just said her mother must be young. I don't know. Was it something that her daughter, was she defending or something? I mean, why would a mother get involved? The letter was struck, so what it was in there that allegedly was said by her mother? Was there something in the letter about something that allegedly was done to her daughter? I'm sure if that's out there, Kimmy would say something about it. Maybe she had a video. I haven't watched people's videos, so I'm sure she will address it if that what well, I don't know. I can't be certain. I can't speak for Kimmy. But I'm just saying if her mother actually came on YouTube. Let me read some of your comments. Her mother sent the letter to the court as Cat, as her daughter. I'm just looking on the screen reading. I'm reading Cup's comments and she brought it up. No, it was from her and the content creator. Baby Juju, supposedly, but didn't tell her daughter. Vicky says the mother is, so is she a regular or something on the YouTube streets in the chats? They said they posted it. Who are the they? She jumped on the panel. Her mother jumped on the panel? I'm just gonna say allegedly. Or was it Cat on a panel? She jumped on the panel last night. Kimmy went on the live. So it was somebody else who was talking about it. All comments and opinions in the chat. Something doesn't make sense. Someone is a fall guy. Kat went on the panel. Kimmy went on the panel. I mean, you don't have to say the content creator whose show. All of them except the mom. All right, so how do we know factually that it was her mother? Did Kat take ownership of her mother sending a letter? All these distractions and skits. Maybe I'll ask it another way. Did Kat acknowledge that her mother, that she knew about the letter, that she obviously knows about the letter. It's on YouTube. People talked about it. She just found out? So you mean before this came out, that this letter that was sent to the judge, she never, allegedly, it was attributed to, all right, so wasn't the letter, let's see, someone else's name, a name we don't even, I can't remember the name. There was a name on the letter. Okay, reliable source. Baby Juju says mom told another content creator instead of her daughter, allegedly. That's weird. Cups of Conversation says you can see as we scroll up. Says she didn't even know. It's sad. So that would certainly set the that would be a fiery exchange, I'm sure. I think. I think. Okay, so I'm going down the comments on my side. That is the main thing. That someone would try to interfere, writing letters to the court in a case that's not about them. I'm just speaking for myself, how I would view it. People writing letters, if somebody wrote a letter, it was struck. Now there is someone who is saying it is Kat's mother who wrote the letter. How do we know that? Did her mother, was it recorded? Because the letter has been struck. So now that just throws, different people, someone. Cup says, I don't know these people. I'm not sure of all the players, but seems kind of sketchy. Yes. Yeah, that's the main thing. People outside that and that's why I say there's things that a person can control and there's things that you can't control, right? And if someone sends the court letters sealed, uh, there's certain things you don't even know. I don't even know. A plaintiff won't know. A defendant, trusts no one, says FIVA. Yeah. Trying to influence the judge, the outcome of a decision. Yeah. That's an interesting comment at the bottom. You can't see it, it'll come up. So above, good morning. Cups of Conversation says the mother telling another content creator that she did it, but nothing to her chat. Nonsense to distract from holding DR accountable. Love wins. Why not write it herself? Yeah, she's grown. How did she get the court information? True. How did she even become aware of it? I mean, court information is public, but I see what you're saying. How did she even know about the case and suddenly targets? Let me tell you, the timing, and I mentioned this in one of my night talks, the timing of it to me is suspicious. That part. The timing is suspicious. All right. So this letter apparently comes in. Um, I'd have to look at the case, but there hadn't been anything to come into Kimmy's case except for, between her and the judge or, the clerk for some time. And then suddenly, a short flurry of activity begins. Okay. And between the time that the court, I'm awaiting a decision, all right, since the court gave the order on May 22nd, Kimmy has contacted the court. I saw that I'm looking at Danielle has contacted the court. This mysterious letter has come into the court. Okay. Another case happened in California court. Just a lot of different things going on with someone who is at the center of these three different cases. One that just it's just, it's the timing for me, and it raises suspicion always to me when I'm just looking at timing. I don't know. It could be totally, all coincidence, but these are all different cases not to be intertwined. And yes, then Danielle puts my name, inserts my name in that case between that time. So I have a right to be suspicious and at least raise the question, like, what's going on here? All these different um, people, names. What's this about? So I'm looking at like, really? Now it's her mother? Okay. Unless I heard it from her mother and I don't know. That's wild. I'll just say it's wild, that story. And why would she imitate her daughter? And her daughter not know about this? That's wild. If that's true. Phoebe says, I never knew how people could be so fake and foul till I started watching YouTube. Well, I never knew all of this went on, and I never knew that people can get away with it. Cubs, good point. Says it's weird that the mother is involved but didn't come to live to defend her child. Yeah, like that's interesting. Yeah, bring mom and daughter on at the same time. And yeah, is it because this was a surprise? So the daughter doesn't know at all? Like, did she just learn on the panel? In other words, did somebody start talking about it on this panel and then Kat came on and because she heard someone talk about her mother is involved with this letter and then so it's all a surprise to her is why her mom might not be on. You know what I'm saying? I haven't watched, so I don't know. Yeah. Well, the thing is, the good news part is the letter was struck. That was struck, and the judge would have had to do it, I guess, or ordered by the clerk, manager, whoever is doing it. Mhm. Somebody showed the letter. Okay. Luna's Blade says it's all gotta be for dollars. Recruiting all these people to confuse and distract. I just can't wrap my head around how so many are pulled into her false narratives as supporting players. A lot of moving parts, yeah. And we'll probably leave it at that with all of these moving parts as I need to get moving. It's almost 10:30 here shortly. Yeah. Again, all comments that were made in the chat are your own, allegedly comments that I've made, education, news reporting, criticism, and fair use. But I think that's going to do it for me this morning. Yeah, I'm just kind of glad I got a chance to come on mornings and hopefully in the fall, yeah, coming up soon. I'll be coming on more often during the morning mocha when I can get back. Yeah. hmm Yeah, all of you. To my moderators, thanks for supporting the mob as always, Baby Juju and Vicky Black. But that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Have a great Thursday.